Today's lesson is on how do we write equations from tables. Write the equation of the following table in slope-intercept form. Take a second to copy down the question and the table. So, if we're writing our equation in slope-intercept form, we still need to write y equals mx plus b. The easiest way to find the slope in a table is to find the difference in y and the difference in x. Here I'm adding 1. For the x values, I'm also adding 1. And then I check to make sure it's the same thing for every single part. So all of my y's are adding by 1, all of my x's are adding by 1. When I check the slope, it's the change in y over the change in x. So the m is the change in y over the change in x. You have to make sure from a table that it is the same number for every single change. So for this first change, I have 1 over 1. That's equal to 1 over 1 and also equal to 1 over 1. If they are not the same, then it is not linear and we cannot write an equation in slope-intercept form. So my m, or my slope, is just 1. So I have y equals 1x plus b. Now, there are two ways to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the y value when x equals 0. So in the table, you see if you have x as 0 in your table. I have x equals 0 in this part of my table, so my y-intercept, or my b value, is just 3.5. So I can just write my equation as y equals 1x plus 3.5. And that would be my equation in slope-intercept form. You do not need to show any more work as to how you found the b value, because you have it where your x value is equal to 0. The second question. Write the equation of the following table in slope-intercept form. Take a second to copy down the question and the table. If I am writing my equation, it's going to be y equals mx plus b. I'm going to see how my y values are changing. My y values are subtracting 3 for every single one. My x values are adding 1 every single time. So now for my slope, I need to make sure that my change for each pairing is the same. So I have negative 3 over 1, that's equal to negative 3 over 1, equal to negative 3 over 1. All of these are equal, and they're equal to negative 3, so my slope is negative 3. So I have y equals negative 3x plus b. Now I look back at my table. I do not have x equal to 0 in my table. So there are two ways I can find my y-intercept. The first way is the same process that we learned yesterday. I can just pick any point. I'm going to pick this first point. If I pick that first point, my y value is negative 11 equals negative 3 times 2 plus b. Now I'm just going to solve this for b. Negative 11 equals negative 6 plus b. I can add 6 to both sides. Negative 5 is equal to b. So my equation would be y equals negative 3x minus 5. That's one way I can find my y-intercept. The other way I can find my y-intercept is by using my table. Even though I do not have x is 0 in my table, I can work my way backwards. If moving to the right I add 1, moving to the left means I'm going to subtract 1. So that would be 1. Here, it's the same thing. Moving to the right, I'm subtracting 3, so I'm going to do the opposite and add 3. Negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8. I still have not reached x equals 0, so I need to move back again. If I subtract 1 again, I get 0. And now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to add 3, and I get negative 5. So here is my y-intercept, which is negative 5, which is the same answer. So either way, you still get y equals negative 3x minus 5. And the last question. Determine if the table represents a linear relationship. If yes, write an equation in slope-intercept form. Take a second to copy down the question and the table. If I need to write my equation slope-intercept form, I'm going to write it as y equals mx plus b. So now I'm going to find how I'm changing. For my y's, I'm adding 1, adding 1, adding 1, adding 2. For my x, it's plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So I'm going to determine if my slope is the same for all of them. So my change in y is 1 over 2. That's equal to 1 over 2, equal to 1 over 2. But then on my last one, I get 2 over 2. Those are not equal. Since all of my changes are not equal, this is not a linear relationship. And since it is not a linear relationship, I am not able to write an equation in slope-intercept form.